Guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Rough is with me. Tam McManus and 35-year-old Charlie Adam is with us as well. Charlie Adam, did you do anything sensational for your birthday? Did you get anything as a present from someone that was just memorable?
No, I got a couple of nice little bits from the wife and the kids. But because of lockdown, it was dinner at home and ready to go for the weekend.
And I think that really curtailed our big present that we were getting him, Roughie. It kind of just thwarted all hopes of delivering that, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did. I mean, we've been saving up for nearly since you've come on the show, but we knew the standard of present we'd had to buy, so we're just going to hold out to your 40.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the last thing we can afford, Duffy, is a brand new Land Rover. But anyway, apart from anything else, he's 35. Let's hope he had a good birthday. Charlie's with us. You can post your message, your thoughts, your opinion on football over the weekend's Premiership. We'll be looking back on the Europa League as well because, Charlie, it was yet again business as usual for Rangers. Another good win.
Huge win. I think any game away from home and you pick up 3 points is massive. But I think it's the way Rangers are playing. You know, he obviously made a few changes, and the lads that come in done the business. And you know, if you're Steven Gerrard here, sat this morning going into this game at Dundee United, you know, you're sitting there with a smile on your face. Everybody's at it. You know, there's nobody just, you know, picking their lip or sat on the bench, not in a huff or anything like that. Everybody's grinding for the same things and they're on the same wavelength, and it's great to see. And you know, since they've come back day one pre-season, I think they've been phenomenal this season. But they can't stop. They need to go again in another tough game on Sunday.
I'll tell you one thing, Roughie, when you look at the way they scored the goals, I mean, Itten's goal is not just
That's me here, by the way.
It's a thunderbolt, isn't it?
Yeah, he took it particularly well, you know, took the side of the goal. The goalkeeper maybe never expected, but it shows you the confidence they've got. If you're a striker and you're not playing regularly, once you're given the chance, there's a lot of pressure on you, you know, to come up with the goods. And certainly that's a couple of times now he's come on and he's did all his manager can ask of. But so as Charlie said, I mean, it doesn't matter what department it is, whether it's up front, midfield, defence, or the goalkeepers, you know, everybody's turning it on, and everybody that's been given a chance is coming in and doing the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget, Tam, this is a team that tops the group. And Benfica have spent about 100 million on assembling their side. So this is no mean feat by Steven Gerrard's team.
No, it's brilliant, Peter. It's a great achievement. You know, we all fancied Rangers to qualify, let's be honest, but I think to top the group ahead of Benfica is fantastic for Rangers. You know, you look how far they've came in the last few seasons. And I think there'll be some envious glances getting, you know, cast towards a manager. I think Steven Gerrard's done a wonderful job at Rangers. And, you know, his reputation continues to grow both here and in Europe. And you see some of the results that they're picking up to top that group. And I think it's a record points total for any Scottish team in the Europa League. So, no, it's all systems go for Rangers. They're flying at the minute.
Yeah, and when you look at that table and you look at the points, I think Steven Gerrard's only really had 5 defeats in his complete European record with Rangers. 22 wins, Charlie, only 14 draws, I beg your pardon. It's phenomenal what he's done on the European stage with Rangers.
Yeah, listen, for a young manager to go and have that knowledge of, you know, that's what you get judged on now. Can you manage in Europe? These big clubs want to see if you can manage in Europe, and he sets his team up well every game. I don't think Rangers have been outplayed in any European match that I can remember watching. Even the Benfica games, you know, there were 2 goals up in one of them, you know, and ended up getting pegged back late on. But you know, the record is phenomenal, and they just keep churning wins out, and that's all they can do is keep going. But they're playing with a confidence and, like I say, a bit of a swagger at the moment, and now they'll just have to regroup, refocus and go again, because Tannadice is a tough place to go. It doesn't matter if there's no crowd or there is a crowd, and there'll certainly be a few tasty tackles going in there on Sunday.
Well, you mentioned that. I mean, that follows on to the draw on Monday, which, no surprise, Steven Gerrard's looking forward to.
I haven't had a look in depth in terms of a time. Obviously aware of who's in the draw. Really looking forward to the draw. I think we deserve to look forward to it. You know, whoever we get, it's going to be tough. The good thing is, obviously, it'll be over 2 legs, and we're seeded and we finish top of the group. So we've done everything we can to give ourselves the best chance.
Yeah, I mean, he's been humble. He's been a manager who's saying, you know, we're taking one game at a time. I mean, I read some of the messages on here, and our job is to comment on the games, the way they're playing, what they're doing now, and the stats don't lie, Roughie. This is a side that's top to group. This is a side that's top of the Scottish Premiership. This is a side that is playing really good football. And they might not have won anything at the moment, but boy, I fancy them to win a few things. I'm not sure at this moment, until we see how the luck of the draw, as to whether they can, you know, get to the latter stages of this tournament, Roughie. I think it's too early to suggest that until you start to see if they get a wee break and a nice draw. Here's some of the teams, Roughie, that they could face in the last 32. Antwerp, Braga, Dynamo Kiev, Granada, Krasnodar, Lille, Maccabi, TA, Molde, Olympiacos, Real Sociedad, Red Bull Salzburg, Red Star Belgrade, Slavia Prague, Wolfsberger, and also Young Boys as well. So, you know, there's a few that I think they would like to avoid in that little list there, Roughie. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I think so. I think, but it's the people that's on that list that are going to. I'll be worried. I would think, you know, a lot of them obviously won't have watched the Rangers game as in the group, but certainly as soon as the draw has been made, the first thing they are going to look at is the group that they were in and how they've won it. And as we've just discussed there, it's impressive. So whoever they get out of that group there is going to be worried, because if they look at the stats, you know, they'll say this is a pretty impressive team that we've drawn here. I'd like to see them getting another reasonable draw, not one of the bigger sides in that group, and advance a wee bit further, because it'd be a shame to get to the 32 and then maybe exit after that. So no, I still think they've got it in them, you know, in that group that you just showed there, to go another round before the big boys come in.
Yeah,
Can
absolutely.
I jump in there quickly? Sorry. The big thing for Rangers at the moment, they'll have one eye on this coefficient as well, knowing about getting into for the Champions League.
Yeah, well,
So
that
they know
point,
if they
Charlie, that point you just made there, Charlie, was helped no end, I have to say, by Rangers topping the group, their consistency right throughout the European football this season. To a lesser extent, just last night, it was a win, but it was a valuable win, because that points total with Celtic getting the win over Lille suddenly gives them just a little gap between themselves and Ukraine, which I think Scotland's in 11th position, Charlie, which again, next season, you're looking at saying to yourself, suddenly we could see a team going straight into the group stages again, which I think would be great.
Yeah, that's if we can get that back into, you know, where all firm teams were qualifying for the Champions League regular, that would be great. But at the moment, you know, if I was Rangers and you're thinking, right, if we can draw a Wolfsberger or a Molde and get into the next round again, and that helps us, if we look like we're going to win the Premier League, it might help us going into that coefficient straight in for the Champions League. And you know how tough these Champions League draws can be if you don't make it straight in. So it's there'll be a little bit of an eye on that. That'll be getting mentioned at Ibrox, because it'll help them massively as well.
Yeah, and Baz Nicol is agreeing with you, Robbie. He says there's not a team in that draw bigger than Rangers. They'll be more worried about facing Rangers, some of the teams in there. I think, Baz, you're absolutely right. The way Rangers played, and certainly a number of the players have been commenting from Lech Poznan about the standard that Rangers reached this season, their style of play, the way they went about their business. And some players have been tipping Rangers to go really far in the Europa League, which would be incredible. It really would test the squad to the full. Tam, there's a real desire from Steven Gerrard to try and get Glenn Kamara on a long-term deal.
Yeah, listen, I think for 50 grand, he has been one of the bargains of the season. You know, he's a tremendous player. I think picking him up from Dundee, you know, you always try and look for a wee diamond that you can shine up, and I think Steven Gerrard's been brilliant for Glenn Kamara. He's came in obviously a midfield player himself. I think Kamara's improved every season he's been at Rangers, and you know, I think I don't think he'll be on a lot of money coming from Dundee, so they'll be looking to bump his money up and get him on a long-term contract, because there'll certainly be clubs looking at him. He's so comfortable on the ball. You know, he's never finished international. He plays for them, you know, every international game, so he's a key player at an international level. And I think that Rangers, you know, if they can get him tied up on a 3 or 4 year deal, they can sell him for a big amount of money further down the line. I think he's a terrific player.
Yeah, and with 6 million, almost 6 million bank trophy, suddenly all of those, you know, the financial accounts, suddenly it starts to look healthier when you know you've got 6 million coming in. Potentially there's going to be money coming in from, you know, wherever they finish in the league. Then there's the carrot of trying to qualify for Champions League football as well. And then hopefully fans get back in. So you can see how suddenly it becomes easier to balance the books, Roughie.
Yeah, and they're the same as every other club at the beginning of the season. You budget for things like that. You know, sometimes you don't put it in the budget, but if you get it, then it's absolutely fantastic. And we know Rangers obviously financially need everything that they can get. Obviously, they've had all the soft loans and everything, but this kind of thing, you know, it just makes everything rosy, and the more money piling in, the better. And I think that was what they targeted, you know, being a success again in European football would get Rangers back on their feet financially. And the way they're going just now, they don't seem too far away from it.
Yep, so that was Rangers, good win, and again, topping the group, and quite a lot of Rangers fans on messaging, well happy with what Steven Gerrard is doing. Tam, finally, Celtic stopped the rot with a win over Lille.
Yeah, I think it was a much needed win, Peter, for everyone at Celtic. I think obviously the first win in a month. You know, it's unheard of at a club like Celtic to go a month without winning a game. I think that Lille obviously are a very, very good side. You know, I think they're 11 games unbeaten, and they beat Monaco last weekend, so they've been flying high in France, and obviously they're already qualified. But I still think that it was a great performance from Celtic. I think the guys that they brought in brought a real freshness and a real energy, particularly middle of the park. David Turnbull and Ismaila Soro, I thought, were outstanding. Soro is a guy who, you know, has been invisible. Basically, he's been an invisible man at Celtic. You know, nobody's seen much of him, but he's come in last night and he's done himself a power of good in that sitting midfield role. Thought he was outstanding. He covered every blade of grass. And David Turnbull, you know, who Celtic signed for £3 million, again, another guy who I've not seen much of. I think he's only started one game. He's not had an opportunity at Celtic, and a lot of Celtic supporters have been banging the door for him, banging the drum for him to get a start. And he proved a lot of people right last night, and with a great performance in the winning goal. So I think that's two real bonuses for Celtic. The energy that they two brought to the team, and I hope they stay in the team at the weekend. I think they will. I think Neil Lennon should keep the same team, as close to the same team as played on Thursday night, and try and build some confidence and some continuity with the starting 11.
Yeah, well, I actually thought there were 3 positives, Roughie. I thought the boy Ewan Henderson was good as well, on the basis that Sorrell would play a forward pass. There was energy to it. Turnbull loves a shot from distance. Henderson did something last night which I haven't seen too many Celtic players achieve, which was actually go past a man with a bit of skill. And suddenly when you go past a man, Roughie, you open up a 2-on-1 situation.
Yeah, we'll saw every chance every time that boy has been given a chance. We've seen he can make that pass, and we can see that he can control the game as well. So I think what Neil's done is he's taken the players out of the scenario that he thinks had obviously affected by the run that they've been on, and he's replaced them by people who haven't experienced it on the park. And you can see the freshness, that they're playing with a wee bit more, you know, up the field a lot more. They're getting forward runs. They want the ball. They're confident on the ball. I don't think that was happening with some of the people who had been there for the long stay. That it really affected them. So he got a benefit out of it. When I saw the team lines, I went, "Oh, that's a bit of a gamble, that." You know, some of them coming on, and even Connor Hazard, who we had, I think it was last year before Dundee got him. He's a big boy, ready to be in. You know, he's 6'5". Very, very confident, big lad, you know, and to be thrown into a game like that says a lot of what they think of him. So, you know, it was a gamble, and Neil in a few positions, but it came off for him. And he's not getting overexcited, obviously, because he knows the situation, that it's just one game. They need to continue to do it all the time.
Yeah, it's a moment of respite, Charlie. But when you look at the Europa League group and you see where Celtic are, they managed to get one win out of it, but it was poor, and they can't escape that fact, despite that game last night.
Yeah, we go back to it again. I think it's the amount of goals they've conceded, but also the 2 games against Sparta Prague. Did we think Celtic would get ahead of Lille or AC Milan with the money that Lille spent in the summer? I didn't think they would. I just think it was the 2 games against Sparta Prague and how they were beaten is a huge negative for the football club and the players and the group. But you know, the lads that we mentioned about coming in and doing well, your career starts in one moment, and that could be the moment where David Turnbull's career starts for Celtic. You know, Liam Henderson, I thought, like you said, went by a couple of players as if he'd been playing for years, you know, and there was a confidence about the group last night. And listen, Neil sets up his team. You can't score a goal and then obviously do what Callum McGregor does. You don't coach that. That just, it's individual errors at the moment are costing Celtic, but they bounce back and listen, they got a great result. Like I said, Lille are a good side, good team that are, you know, up there with PSG. So they must take confidence from that, and if they do, then you know they should go into the weekend full of it.
Peter,
Neil, yeah.
Peter, if you'd have said at the start of the group that Celtic would take 4 points from 6 from Lille, you'd have thought they'd have qualified, to be honest. And then obviously, as you said, the 2 games against Sparta Prague, you would never have predicted Celtic to lose both of them at 8-2, and they take 4 points from a really good French side. So shows you how inconsistent they are.
Yeah, well, Neil Lennon hoping that this is the Celtic side that can really kick on from here.
And we've taken 4 points off Lille, who are flying. And I think some of our performances merited better results, and that's been the case with domestic games as well. So there's a long way to go in the season, but we have to, you know, use this now as a catalyst to find, you know, a real consistency of wins now.
We've mentioned the real positives, Tam. I'm not going to jump in anywhere, dodge the issue. They lost 2 goals, and I'm sorry, you know, I think some Celtic fans were thinking they'd be able to punt Shane Duffy back in January. I think the word from Brighton is he's there until the summer, and last night he did not fill me with confidence.
No, he was poor again, Peter. You know, I feel sorry for him. His confidence must be at its lowest ebb ever. You know, he looks shorn of any sort of a belief and confidence. You know, he's not winning his headers, he's not winning his tackles. That's what Celtic brought him in for, Peter. You know, to defend the 6-yard box, to be a big presence in there, and he's not winning anything. And I think he's going to be at Celtic. I don't think Brighton will be looking to take him back. I don't think he'll get into Brighton's team either. So he's there for the long run. Somehow Neil Lennon has to try and fill him with confidence, whether that's a couple of clean sheets Celtic get back to back, or he gets a goal or something just to get him going. Because again, last night he doesn't look the same player that we all thought would be a massive boost for Celtic, and he's been really disappointing so far. But that's not to say that he can't turn it around, because there's still time for him to do it. But you know, he needs a wee bit of confidence. He needs a goal or a clean sheet or something just to get him going.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's how all the British teams fared in last night's Europa League competition. Of course, great result there for Rangers. Arsenal dispatched 4 past Dundalk. There's the Rangers result. Leicester, no problems with AEK Athens. Celtic with the 3-2 win over Lille. And Tottenham, 2-0 against Antwerp. Roughie, Tottenham are my tip to win the Europa League.
Well, we certainly know how the manager's going to play the game once it gets into 2-leg games. He's a master at it, particularly the away games. You know, he sets his stall out accordingly. And he might blow the pants off a lot of people, but at the end of the day, he still gets the result that takes him through to the next round. He's sort of playing it down a wee bit. He's not getting overexcited either, but there is a good quality of teams, you know, dropping into that cup, plus the ones that are there just now. So I know you're not a big fan of this cup, but I think this year, as the rounds go in, I think there are going to be a lot of good teams in there that we're all going to be interested in.
I think it's
Charlie,
a great
how far
tournament.
do you... Oh, do you? Yeah. Your head's full of mince. You're just at the noise up. Charlie, I was going to ask you, how far do you think Rangers can go in this tournament?
I think they'll get through this one. I think they can get through through this 32. And listen, it's a look at the draw after that where you can end up. But if Rangers get through this, then it's been up to date. It'll be a good season. But listen, the focus is the Premier League. They need to win that Premier League, and that's what it'll be coming down to. Going back to the Tottenham thing, I do think that he'll be looking to win that. You know, he'll be thinking this is our best chance of a trophy. Can they win the Premier League? I doubt it. But the English clubs also think about if they win this, or any club do, you can get in the Champions League straight in. So it's there's a little bit of a carrot at the end of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know about you. I was watching the games, the highlights of them from last night, Roughie. Gareth Bale, like Charlie Adam, hasn't lost the able to hit an absolute peach of a free kick. I mean, it was a belter that eventually brought about Tottenham's goal. I mean, he's still to get to full fitness. They might even have him at his disposal.
Yeah, they seem to have the really, really good players seem to have the ability to use this football. You know, the way they kick it. If you see Ronaldo taking free kicks, they have a knack at kicking it with a certain part of their boot. And it seems to be a way ahead of everybody else. You know, it's not just a straightforward curl. It's got everything on it. It's got bend, it's got dip, it's got a lot. And in certain areas, as soon as it happens, you know, they fancy themselves. Whether it's 25, 30 yards, they just fancy themselves. If they hit the target, there's a good chance they're going to score.
Yeah, I think the general feeling at the moment, I'll get Charlie's thoughts on this, but the general feeling is that Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United. Will it be January? Only time will tell. Here's another man that I think could be on his way out, Dele Alli. Jose Mourinho certainly not too enamoured with him. He didn't even pick him from the 5 subs that he used.
Let's not run away from the reality. A player that is on the bench and realizes that with 5 changes he's not one of the players. Of course, he's not a happy player, and I wouldn't expect him to be happy.
I think he's on his way out as well. Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, he is. I think he's just covering up for that, because if I was the manager of the football club, I'd be raging with that. I think it's a disrespect to your teammates, to the supporters, to the club, that just because there's 5 subs being used, you walk down the tunnel. I think it's. I know, I understand frustration and things like that, but you still got to sit there and support your teammates. Even the Harry Winks one, you know, he covered that up well as well. He walked straight down the tunnel. It's interesting. You know, there's a few lads not been playing there, and now they don't. You know, it looks like they might try and get rid of them. Dele Alli looks like one that will go. But whoever gets him, they're getting a terrific player, because I think he's a top player. He just needs to get a confidence. And if you look at the Tottenham documentary, you know, Jose said to Daniel Levy about him saying like he's not a good trainer. That is massive. Do you know what I mean? For any other manager seeing him, that they don't think he applies in day out, day out. And if you want to get to the top, you've got to be on it, you know, every day. Tam will tell you it's hard enough being, you know, a good player, but to be the top players, you've got to be on it every single day in life, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, this weekend, certainly looking forward to some tasty games in the Premiership in Scotland. Here's what's on offer over Saturday and Sunday. Aberdeen against Ross County, Hamilton Hibs, Motherwell St Mirren, St Johnstone Livingston, Dundee United against Rangers, and Celtic against Kilmarnock. Get your predictions ready for that one. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, you can like, share and follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And with that in mind, Steven Gerrard is expecting a wee bit of needle of Dundee United against Rangers.
Obviously, there's some rivalry there. We expect a bit of needle in the game, which we welcome. You know, Mickey Mellon's a experienced manager. He's been around for a long time. Good manager. I think he's come in and done ever so well at Dundee. It's a shame that he won't be there on the side, obviously for COVID reasons. But we expect them to have his team well drilled. They'll be competitive and they've got good players. So we're expecting a real tough challenge on Sunday at lunchtime.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Tam. There's a manager who's buzzing, because not only now does he have a strong starting 11, he's got 5 or 6 itching to get in the side on the subs bench.
Yeah, listen, it must be great to be in Steven Gerrard's position at the minute. As you said, he's got 18 to 20 players capable of playing. I think that's great for any manager, you know. And listen, if there's anybody that can step in, you know, Cedric Eaton came on last night and scored a great goal. He's pushing for a place. You've got Morelos there, you've got Roof. You know, you've got plenty of options. I thought Zunga played well last night for his first start. And young Nathan Patterson at right back. So listen, he's got players chapping at the door to come in and play. And it's a great thing for a manager to have competition for places. You know, because the guys will tell you yourself, you know, if you've got competition, you've got pressure on your jersey, it brings everybody up to a higher level. And any team he picks will be a team that I think he'll be capable of winning the game.
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 to Rangers. Tam, what are you going?
Yeah, listen, I've said the last couple of weeks that I fancied the teams to score against Rangers, but not this weekend. I think Dundee United, for me, remind me a wee bit of Shane McGowan. They're toothless. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Rangers.
Charlie Adam.
I'm not batting round. I think Rangers will give them 4-0. I'll go
4-0. Wow.
Yeah, I just think
Rangers
are in cruise control, and at the moment that there's too much going on at United. No manager, players missing with COVID. It's tough. I think Rangers could be. This could be a big score.
Yeah, that's it. Well, listen, we're not going to knock you because you're on a great wee run at the moment. For some people whose predictions, it means the lights have gone out on basically what they've been saying. That's what usually happens, Roughie. Usually we put the lights out if anybody just puts a ridiculous prediction up. So if you have just joined us, it's Peter Martin, Alan Rough, Charlie Adam, and a Christmas tree.
And the Christmas tree.
Yeah, and we'll probably get more sense out of the bobbles. Matthew McEwen says 7-0 Rangers. So Matthew has clearly hit the Kestrel lager early. He's just going for it on this Friday. But if it's 7-0 Matthew, if it's 7-0 Matthew to Rangers, I think, Roughie, we've got to send them out a T-shirt, haven't we? We're going to send them a T-shirt, will we?
It's 7. I can't see it being 7. I think early on in the season when Mickey Mellon was a bit naive, playing against the likes of Rangers and Celtic and Aberdeen, I think he's got the grasp of it now. You go into the game and try and come out with a reasonable performance. So no, I can't see it. I know where Charlie's coming from, but I'm going to go 2-0 as well.
Yeah, 2-0. Okay. At this moment, I think the tree has fallen. And of course, when you hear a loud bang in a house, you start to really worry, Roughie, in case something has happened.
The tree's got to fall. The tree's just got to collapse. That would be.
My lights have just blown the fuse.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, the only thing I can actually sum it up on a regular basis is calamity Tam. If there's something that'll go wrong in his house, it usually does between 4 o'clock and 5, but he's there, he's safe, which is good news. Anyway, thanks to everyone. I think if it is 7-0, then I think we're going to have to send you a T-shirt. But stranger things have happened, by the way. Let's not rule it out. So that's Dundee United against Rangers, Celtic against Kilmarnock. I mean, there's going to be a protest, Roughie. This is the statement that's come out regarding that protest that's going to take place following the announcement of a proposed gathering at Celtic Park this Sunday. While the club understands the concern and frustration amongst fans, we don't believe staging an event of this kind is in the best interests of supporters, the team or the club, particularly just prior to the match. In the present circumstances and given the health risk of gatherings of any kind, the club has not agreed to any gathering taking place. Celtic is not involved in the organisation of the proposed gathering. The club has received legal and safety advice indicating that if strict social distancing is not implemented, any such gathering would breach current legislation, something the club would wish all supporters to be aware of. The club is happy to engage with supporters to discuss concerns, and the club encourages supporters to raise their concerns with the club directly. And I think the general feeling here, Roughie, is, make your complaints. Every fan has got a right to be angry, not abusive, but a right to be angry. And if they want to call for the manager's head, then so be it. We've certainly looked at his position with 2 wins in 12 before Lille and thought that his time was up.
Yeah, I think we all appreciate that everybody's got an opinion on how it goes. I just feel that majority of protests, for whatever reason, get out of hand. There's always maybe half a dozen spoil it for the protesters who just want it to go pretty easily. There's always somebody vents their anger, and then that's when we get the trouble. That's when the police have got to react. So if we all thought it was going to be peaceful and very constructive, then fair enough. But for me, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't really, and I said protesting before the game doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the players turning up at the ground, preparing for a game. It doesn't help the manager. So for me, it's just a no go for me. If you want to protest after a game. Don't protest before it.
Yeah, listen, I think, I can understand Celtic's concerns for the social distancing on this whole affair, and by the same token, the Celtic Trust has offered advice on how to go there and conduct yourself properly and wear a face mask. I am not against anybody's democratic right to protest and to call for the manager's head if it's not good enough in their eyes, Tam. I must admit, I'd be amazed. It's a kind of be careful what you wish for. I'd be amazed if it gathered pace in people saying sack the board. I still can't get my head around that. They've made mistakes. They deserve a lot of criticism, but it's certainly one of the best run boards in Britain.
Peter, I think last night was a big result for in terms of the weekend. I think that might just calm a few people down. It might dampen the fire of anger that's been amongst a lot of Celtic supporters, and you might find out that maybe there's not as many people who is going to be there on Sunday than there would be if Celtic would have lost again last night and lost heavily. So I think the result last night maybe just put the tin hat on the protest. I think you might get a few people out there, but I don't think you'll get as many as you would have if Celtic would have lost again last night.
Yeah, well, the manager was positive about the result against Lille, but he's realistic enough ahead of this game against Kilmarnock to say they're going to have to win a hell of a lot of games.
Well, we have to win a lot of games now, and they've done it before. So it's just a question of, taking it, it's no cliche, but just step by step, just look at the next game, put in a performance, they're capable of winning, of course they are, and taking it from there. So we're not going to say, yeah, we must win it. It'd be good to win it. We need to win it. So that need should drive them on.
If he changes the side and plays with the forward-thinking players who impressed, I'm going to go Celtic to win 2-1, which tells you, Tam, that back line for me is the problem.
Yeah, I agree, Peter. I don't think that Celtic will keep a clean sheet. I think I'm going to go for 2-1 as well to Celtic. I don't think Kamara are not a team that I don't think ship 3 and 4 goals very often. They're very, very tight and organised, and I think it might be a day of patience for Celtic before they eventually get the winner. So I'm going to go for 2-1 again as well to Celtic.
Charlie?
Yeah, I'll think Celtic win 2-0.
Roughie?
Yeah, I'm going to go Celtic as well. I thought last week, although the result wasn't positive, I thought they should have won that game 3-1 quite easily. Zander Clark had a fantastic game. So I'm going to go for goals. I'm going to go Celtic to win 3-0.
In this match, let's not forget that Killie, with 3 points, are aiming for the top 6. And you've got to take into consideration that this is a club with a manager not happy with the decision to penalise them with a 3-0 win for Motherwell and a loss of 3.
We'll have to wait and see. I like to think if they're honest with themselves, they'll do the right things and return the verdict. Overturn it, I should say. I just hope that they come to their senses and do the right thing. It's not right that we got punished the way we did. It's not right you're giving another team 3 points and 6 points respectively. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's a great sense of injustice there, Tam.
Yeah, listen, I think he's got a point. The same with St Mirren. Listen, they've been deducted. They get awarded points to other teams round about them, and I think that's vital this season. And listen, they've admitted to doing things wrong, but I think that the punishment's been really harsh. And they've every right to appeal it. Listen, I don't think they win the appeal. I think it's done now, but they've got every right to defend their club and try and overturn that. But first things first, he'll look to try and get something out of the game against Celtic at the weekend, which I don't think they will. But I like Alec Dyer, and I think that Kilmarnock have got every chance this season of pushing into the top 6, maybe at the expense of Dundee United.
Yeah. Does anyone think that they'll win the appeal?
Yeah, I'd love to know what the defence is, Peter. What is the defence? They've admitted the players have been car sharing. They've been admitted they've always been sitting, eating. There's been no protocol whatsoever. So I'd love to know what the defence is, and then we could all maybe get our head round of why why they're defending it?
Well, I think the technicality, either legally in the way it's gone, the way the decision has been made, or potentially along the lines of the actual suggestion that the game should have been cancelled, came from the Ayrshire Health Board. And that may be the technicality that they try and get out on with this one. But listen, we have to wait and see exactly what the technicalities that they are claiming are unfair. Apart from anything else, I think both Kilmarnock and St Mirren have to hold their hands up for the breaches. But is the penalty too heavy? Give us your thoughts on it as well. This is the football show. Stick with us. We'll be all the way through, giving you the best of football right across Christmas and into the new year as well. And the figures for the programme across YouTube, Twitter, and of course Facebook for the full year have been absolutely magnificent. I want to thank so many people for all their good messages and all the banter that's gone on. The majority of people who've joined our football family is absolutely sensational, and we really do appreciate the fact that you know your football as well. Hamilton against Hibs. Hamilton 10th, 2 wins, 1 draw and 2 defeats in the last 5, Roughie. The fight back's on. Hamilton look like a different animal now.
Yeah, they're getting the odd goal here and there. They're not prolific, it's a difficult one when you know you're only scoring an average of 1 goal a game. Puts a lot of pressure on you. I definitely think Hibs will go there, and they've got it in them just now, particularly away from home. We saw at Motherwell that they just bide their time until the chances come along. So I think maybe Hamilton will score, but I don't think it'll be enough. I'm going to go Hibs 2-1.
Yep, okay. I'm going to go Hibs 2-0. I was impressed with Hibs last week. Tam, don't know about yourself. Well, you're impressed with Hibs every week.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed from the first half, Peter. I thought Hibs were really poor the first half. I thought they were fortunate to go in at 0-0, but I think they'll go to Hamilton and win that game comfortably. I think Hibs have got too much in an attacking sense for Hamilton. I'm going to go for 3-0 to Hibs.
In a strange sort of way, Charlie, we've regularly tipped Hamilton for the drop. And there was a period there, and this is again what many people will highlight, there was a period there where we thought maybe Brian Rice was for the chop, but he's just battled back. The board have stood by him. He's come up with a couple of positive results. And at home on that dreadful pitch, they're a difficult team to beat.
Yeah, I think that's a leveller for them. The pitch is a leveller. Maybe the quality is not there as other teams are in division. But the one thing that Chipper will get is he'll get his team. They're an honest bunch of group. They're a bunch group. They'll run around, they'll chase, they'll harry, they'll make it difficult for you. I just think that what Hibs have got in that front area, pace of Boyle, and we keep talking about it. And I think he's a top player, Nisbet. I think they could be the difference in the day. But it'll be interesting to see come January if they can keep Nisbet, because there'll be a few clubs wanting them.
Yeah, well, there's one man that's also impressing. He's in the dugout. It's Jack Ross. His name was one that was thrown in as a potential replacement for Neil Lennon if Celtic decided to get rid of him. Jack Ross has heard the rumours. This is how he responded.
I don't think he'd be surprised to say that. I wouldn't comment on that at all, because somebody's in that job. It's a job that is one of the biggest jobs in British football, so it's not for me. It's about my concentration on doing the job here as well as I can. I do feel as if certainly since the summer in particular when we came back, it's felt like a really good fit. I really enjoy the club and the progress we've made so far, and it's just about trying to push us as hard as I can and as far as we can.
Yeah, no surprise you said that, Tam. One of these days, a manager is going to be in a job and he's going to be linked with a big job, and he's going to come out and absolutely floor all the journalists by saying, I'd love that big job at Rangers. I'm dying to have it. I hope he leaves.
Yeah, listen, I think obviously Hibs are a massive club, and Jack's doing a great job, but every single player and every single manager's got ambitions to manage at the highest level possible. And, if Jack keeps doing well at Hibs, keeps doing what he's doing, then it's inevitable that bigger clubs and bigger leagues are going to come looking for him. But, I think every Hibs supporter is delighted that he's at the club. He's doing well, and he's got a points target in total for this season that he's targeting. And if he can get near that, then they'll finish third comfortably. So they're well on track to finishing third this season, and the Hibs will be looking to build on it again next season.
Yeah. Did we get everybody's score predictions there? Yeah. Everybody on the mark? Yep, okay. Just want you to take care, Roughie, because I know you're writing it all down just in case.
Yeah, I missed your Celtic scores. What was your Celtic scores, your predictions?
2-1.
Both 2-1.
All right, okay.
You're happy with that? Okay, write it down, Roughie. You know what you're like. And because I think, Roughie, and I know there's a lot of games coming up over the festive period, but I think this is where we drag him in. This is our usual Sir Alex Ferguson stuff. You know, what we do is we just go behind and then suddenly we start coming round the bend and then bang, McManus is taking us out to a McDonald's for 3 McFlurries. It's going to be fantastic. Listen, what about even Charlie's not
in the
setting
same
his
carol.
expectations? No, exactly. No, definitely not, Charlie. Unless there's a vaccine. Motherwell against St Mirren. I might nip it along there to Motherwell to see what they're doing. I'm not quite sure about Motherwell, Charlie. I can't predict them. They've scored 21 goals in the last 16 games, but they've conceded 21.
Yeah, they're a team of up and down at the moment. They're just proper not getting any consistency to this play. They've got some good players, a group of players that are progressing well, but they just don't seem to be getting that run of results and winning games regularly that they've done in the past. And I think Motherwell will win this game. I would go for 2-0.
2-0 to Motherwell, with St Mirren not getting any goals. I understand where you're coming from, because obviously St Mirren have scored 8 goals in the last 15 games, and it's a worry for their manager.
We're disappointed with that, because I believe that we've got some very good players in the forward areas, and I do believe that we are now creating more opportunities in recent games than we ever have done. We're aware of it, but at the same time, I don't want to bog the strikers and the midfielders down with unnecessary pressure.
What are you going for, Tam?
I'm going to go for 2-0 to Motherwell as well.
Yeah, roughly. Yep. I'm going to go 2-1 because I still think Motherwell give chances away at the back.
Yeah, I think St Mirren are where they are, obviously because of lack of goals. I think at home they're difficult to beat, but they're only winning games by 1-0. So away from home they haven't showed any form at all. So I'm going to go Motherwell 2-0 as well.
Yeah, Aberdeen against Ross County, Tam. Aberdeen are turning into Celtic. There's usually a statement every day just to keep everybody ticking over. So they're taking on Ross County. They're 1 point behind Hibs. And I don't know about you, but Ross County for me looks shot shy in the final third. So I'm going to go for the Dons to win this one 2-0.
Yep. I think Aberdeen will win that game comfortably. I think the Ross County are, as you said, up and down. I don't think they'll score. I think it'll be 3-0 to Aberdeen.
Yep. Charlie?
I think the same, 3-0 Aberdeen. I think it'll be comfortable for them.
Yeah, it's been good news for Andrew Considine, Charlie. He looks as if he's been given another 1 year that's been triggered by obviously him playing a certain amount of games as a clause in his contract, and suddenly he's got another year, and I think he's well deserving of it.
Yeah, absolutely. He's turned over 500 appearances for Aberdeen. I think he's been consistent performer for them over the years. You know what you're getting, and now he's got an opportunity in the national team that probably thought that was never going to come, and Steve Clarke stuck his neck out, and to be fair, in the games that he's been involved in, he's done extremely well, and it'd be a surprise to not see him in the squad come the summer if he keeps his form up.
Yep, and Dons have options coming back, and I think the options, especially off the bench as well, is worrying Ross County boss Stuart Kettlewell.
I think we just have to focus on what we think we're going to face against Aberdeen, the type of personnel we think Derek might select. And as I say, he goes to his bench and he can find a few fresh faces that have got real quality as well. So we just have to focus on that aspect of not conceding cheap goals and cheap opportunities in games.
Roughie, what are you going for in that match? I haven't heard it.
I think Ross County will do the same as Rangers. They'll try and, hang on in there, but it won't last very long. And as soon as Aberdeen get the first one, I think they'll run out quite easy winners, 2-0.
Yeah, okay. Quite a lot of people concerned at the moment, worrying about the electrical surge. Don't worry. At this moment, he's still with us, although he looks occasionally up at the lights. This is one of those moments where Charlie and Roughie and myself are hoping that this is not the Michael Jackson Pepsi Max commercial, where basically lights fall on that noggin of his and the hair starts to go on fire and everything. He looks as if he's still okay at the moment. If he puts the Christmas tree lights on, then all bets are off. It's as simple as that. That's all I'm telling you.
Can we
St
get a
Johnstone,
picture? Can we get a turn to flip the camera around and see what he's got in front of him? What?
no, because
camera he's got in
quite simply, we are very, very lucky to even have him in focus, Charlie. And the last thing we want to see is, of course, his wife wearing a pixie outfit, because that would send Roughie over the edge, and we don't have a defibrillator to bring him round. It's as simple as that. The last thing Roughie needs is a picture of Tam's wife, to be honest with you. Anyway, apart from St Johnstone, moving on. Look at Roughie with his Dick Dastardly face on. St Johnstone, and for the benefit of our younger viewers, Dick Dastardly was in the Wacky Races. It's a cartoon. Roughie, what about St Johnstone Livy? I think St Johnstone are flying at the moment. I'm all for them winning 2-1, Roughie.
Yeah, I've gone, funnily enough, I've gone 2-1 as well. You know, I think at home there's a lot of confidence there. I do think that Livy are struggling a wee bit just now. Do we think the boy Hopkins going to end up at Livy?
No.
No.
As an
Charlie,
assistant?
why? Why not?
As assistant to Martindale?
Yeah.
No, I just think Martindale will want the job, and he'll take the job if he wants it. So I don't think Hopkins will go there. Unless he gets somebody else in, but I don't think Hopkins will go there.
Yeah, what a strange situation, Tam, that he suddenly looked at the financial situation at Morton and decided, I'm going to let you save some money. I think that's a lot of tosh.
Yeah, listen, I don't think everything's right behind the scenes at Morton. For a couple of seasons now, they've went through managers from Jim Duffy, I think, at the start, all the way through. I think McKinnon was there as well. They rid of him, he walked out. So Johansson, I don't think everything's right behind the scenes at Morton, and the budget down there I think is very, very low, and I think they'll do well just to stay in the league this season, because you look at their squad on paper and it's very, very weak. So I think Hopkins just had enough maybe behind the scenes directors and just thought I'm going to walk away.
Yeah, well, I know Crawford well. He's a good lad, but his dad certainly had a great passion for the club. And I agree with you, Tam. There's something not right there, Roughie. And I'm glad Tam mentioned one particular name, because I can chart it back to Jim Duffy. How they get rid of Jim Duffy, I'll never know.
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously they've had a board meeting, and obviously things have been discussed at that board meeting, and maybe the manager's, it's been put in front of the manager, and he's not happy with what he's seen, but you're right, Crawford's family have put so much into that club, and it was muted that he was wanting to stand aside, and let the supporters come in. I don't know if the financial side of it is, anything to do with it. It must have, because it's affecting every club, and the announcement of the money that's going to get handed out is going to be another one that's going to raise its ugly head, because I don't think anybody knows how that's going to get divided up.
Yeah. Chaz, you looking forward to the weekend? Obviously, a wee bit of football action for yourselves as well.
Yeah, up at Inverness, obviously playing against Robbo's team. We know what we're going to get. They'll be open. He'll want to attack. He'll leave three men up the pitch at corners and things like that. He always wants to be in the front foot. But now, if we can, get a grip of the game and stay compact, and if we can win this and build on, because we have a tough game at home to Dunfermline. We need to win back-to-back games. We've not done it all season. If we can do that, we started last week against Arbroath. If we can do that this week, then we'll go into the Christmas period in good form, and we'll see where it takes us. But no, it's listen, playing football on a Saturday, that's what you're unfortunate enough to be getting paid for, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're sitting sixth at the moment. You really need to make that push, Chaz. I've been friends with Robbo for 30 years, so I reckon you'll get pumped. So simple as that.
And Inverness were good last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Chaz is getting fitter and fitter by the week, so I think Dundee are about to see the absolute best of Charlie Adam, and hopefully that defence can start to get a bit more Loctite. And Hearts are at home to Queen of the South as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the Jambos fare as well in the Championship. Hopefully. Have we all done that? Have we all done our St John's Livy scores? Did I get everybody's?
Oh, what did you say,
No,
Tam?
I'm going to go for 2 each.
Wow.
Yeah, two each. Okay, that's interesting. Chaz, what did you give me yours?
Did I say 2-0 St Johnstone?
Yeah, okay. Now, I was just about to say to you, let's not forget, apart from the fantastic results for Rangers in the Europa League as well, and that's great news for Scottish football and the coefficient. Of course, there's a small matter this weekend of English Premier League football, if that floats your boat as well. Here's a quick look at the fixtures before we go to see that the one main game that I think everybody will be really looking forward to is Manchester United against Manchester City. That is an absolute humdinger of a match, and two teams that strangely this season, Charlie Adam, don't find themselves in that top four. Yeah, Tam.
Yep, no.
Yeah.
Listen, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Hello, come in.
My lights are minute again, sorry. Listen,
Yeah.
I think that Man City obviously are a fair bit behind now. And could this be the game that finally Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's life's run out? Because he seems to have more lives than Garfield. So I think this could be the ninth and final life, a pumping off of Man City and out the door. And Poch in.
Do you think?
That's my prediction.
Do you think that, Charlie?
I think Man City will win this. I do think that Solskjaer's coming to the end. I still think Poch is desperate for a Celtic job, so I think he'll wait until the new year.
Yeah, absolutely, Charlie.
I just think, like I say, I keep talking about too much rumblings. United again, Raiola coming out about Pogba, and I think we're going to talk about it a bit. There's just too much pressure. It's, the performances, getting knocked out of the Champions League. It's a huge call for the money as well of Manchester United not getting qualifying. So, I don't think he's got long left.
Yeah, another manager that, of course, they're going through so many managers since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Now, that is one club, Roughie, where I know we've talked about the Celtic board, but that is one club where I think somebody seriously needs to look at their chief executive, because I think that's where most of the mistakes have been made at Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Celtic's, buying things for the European stage, and then it's been curtailed a wee bit, and they're now Europa Cup team. I don't see why Man United aren't throwing the big cash out for quality players. The support they get, and where they are and everything, the tradition at the club. I just think centre half for me. I just can't get my head around why they never ever have identified a decent centre half. And the goalkeeper's looking a bit weak and all at this precise moment in time. But for me, a team like Man United should have a Ronaldo or a Messi or a Lewandowski or somebody like that. That's the kind of player that these supporters should have had in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, as you can see, it's been a live show today because there's been all sorts of madness. Suddenly somebody has a chat with Charlie in the background. Roughie's wife usually comes in, whispers something in his ear. Charlie gets up, leaves the couch. Tam gets up because the lights go out. Then Tam does an impression of With the Beatles album cover because it's only one side of his face that's lit. I mean, this show is mental, by the way. You never know what's coming on it. It's just absolutely incredible. Lots of people, by the way, I just thought I'd mention because Charlie yesterday, we just launched it yesterday, the homage to Bill Shankly and all the great managers of the 60s and 70s, the Maestro training tops, and no sooner did we mention Charlie would be getting the red, white and blue one than the first one was sold yesterday, and I think they'll be flying out the door.
Was that Mr. B. Ferguson, Lark Hall?
The number 6. What's he doing now? I wonder. Anyway, apart from anything else, Chaz will get the blue one. Roughie, You'll never believe this, Roughie. We had obviously somebody, a workman outside, working on something out on the road here, and he walked up to the house, social distancing, and looked at me and he just said, I was listening to the show last night. He says, aye, Roughie, the red one, that'll be right. I can't believe it, Roughie. They're obviously calling you into question, but you'll be wearing that for the old Jags board meetings, I presume.
Yep, I'll have the red one. It looks very impressive. See, once he's left your house, could you get him to go up to Tam's and fix his electricity?
my power cards with it.
Absolutely. It's incredible what happens in East Kilbride. Electricity, who'd have thought? Anyway, apart from anything else, thanks to Charlie Adam. Good luck at the weekend, Charlie. You're getting fitter every week. Let's hope you still are banging in the goals. Thanks to Tam, thanks to Roughie, from myself, Peter Martin. Join us on Monday if you can. And there you have it. Suddenly, a Christmas light, I Feel a Pogues and Kirsty MacColl song coming on from Tam McManus. Anyway, Christmas still a wee bit away. There might be a wee bargain there for you.
It's the perfect Christmas gift for your dad, mum, your brother, your sister, your best friend. The Legends limited edition series by sports artist Jim Scullion is available to order now. From t-shirt to canvas to prints, select your favourite legend of football. From Larson to Laudrup, Pele to Maradona, Messi or Ronaldo. Order your perfect stocking filler now by clicking on the link to own your very own limited edition legend.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit Arnold Clark.